Yo, what's going on, boys? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another Steam 2 video. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a hunter build, now with a new system that makes you unkillable, as well as making your glaive super powerful. This is going to be like the glaive build if you want to run it on your hunter. You're going to be able to apply weaken, have tons of damage resistance, as well as build up your ammo meter really quickly. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you do, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel in case you guys got ready for some more builds. And let's not waste any time, let's get into it, and first let's start with our exotics. Now for our exotic weapon, we're looking for a glaive to do this with. There's no better than the vexcalibur. The vexcalibur just kind of does everything that you would want. It gives you survivability by giving you an overshield whenever you block, and being able to extend that overshield with more melee kills. You also do extra melee damage when you have that overshield, and then it gives you a ridiculous amount of uptime on your actual glaive shield, because every time that you get a kill while you have an overshield, it also gives you glaive shield energy. So building up that glaive shield energy is a little bit different than some of the other glaives. You don't even have to shoot your glaive to actually build it up. Just by getting melee kills, you're going to be constantly getting that back. The Vexcalibur just has so many good things going for it that whenever I think of any build that utilizes a glaive, the Vexcalibur is essentially like the very first one that I always think of. So if you guys don't have Vexcalibur, go get it. And if you already have it, then you're pretty much good to go. Now for our exotic piece of armor, I still love the Wisdom Vest for any type of glaive build on the hunter. Every time that we come out of invisibility, we basically just do a weakened smoke around us. We are essentially like a walking smoke grenade. Every time we come out of invisibility, we just weaken everything around us. And because of the things that we're running, whenever we kill that weakened target, we're going to go back into invisibility, so we can just do it over and over again. This is going to be really good whether we're dealing with just normal ads, whether we're dealing with some of those bigger targets. It's going to be so good for either disorienting enemies or just killing them faster thanks to the weaken. Now for the weapons you want to have in the other slots, it's really not going to matter. The Vexcalibur is really the only one that's going to matter, and for the other two, you can really go with whatever you want. Now for the subclass, we want to be on the Prismatic Hunter. I feel like this build works the best with Prismatic. And for your super, you can go with any of them. I really like the Silence Scroll, I really like the Silk Strike, the Shadow Shot is so good, but you don't have to go with a specific one. Now for your abilities, you want to go with the Marksman Dodge. The reason that we're going with the Marksman Dodge is because we don't want to be in that situation where we just suddenly don't have any ammo and maybe we need our glaive shield. So having the Marksman Dodge just kind of completely denies that, since we're going to keep spamming our class ability, and every time that we spam our class ability, we're going to be reloading our weapon. For the grenade and the melee, I suggest to stick with the Dust Field and with the Withering Blade, the two stasis ones, since they both give us a very easy way of being able to apply a debuff. And we basically want to apply as many debuffs as we can, since the more debuffs we have applying on enemies, the easier it is to go into invisibility and just keep that invisibility going. And besides that, just the slow and the freeze are still really strong. They may not be able to stun 2 champions like they used to anymore, but just using it against normal enemies, it is still fantastic for just doing some crowd control. Now for your aspects, you want to go with Ascension as well as Style Executioner. Style Executioner is the big one we don't want to miss out on, since our exotic just doesn't work without Style Executioner. We need to be able to go invisible, so every time that we come out of invisibility, we're able to use essentially do that smoke effect and affect everything around us. And we're going to have tons of way of actually activating that Style Executioner. Our super can do it, Ascension, our melee, our grenade, use the actual smoke from us coming out of invisibility. We're going to have lots of ways of getting that first invisibility, and then after that we can just keep it going with the glaive. And then that other aspect is going to be Ascension, and this one does so many different things. It's going to increase our survivability, since it's going to give us amplified, and that gives us free damage resistance, as well as making us hard to hit by the enemies. And it's also going to let us jolt a bunch of targets, which is going to give us ad clear, as well as some more damage against some of those bigger targets. We essentially just want to spam Ascension as quickly as we can, because that jolt is so strong, and it also helps us go invisible. Now for the fragments you want to run in this build, they're going to be pretty simple. You want the Facet of Hope. This is going to make it so whenever we have an element buff, our class ability regenerates more quickly. And this is what's going to essentially give us 100% uptime on our dodge. So this, plus having at least 80 on your class ability, means that you're never going to be without Amplified. By the time your Amplified is going to run out, you're going to have another dodge, so you can re-amplify yourself, and once again apply Jolt to a bunch of enemies, So this is a must-have. You want to use spam our class ability or ascension as much as you can. Next, we're gonna have the Facet of Defiance, and this is gonna do a big slow explosion whenever we finish an enemy. This is gonna be really good. A lot of times we're always gonna be going for finishers, just gonna finish off some of those bigger enemies like champions, mini bosses, basically anything that takes like more than a couple glaive hits to kill. And so this is something nice to have, and it's also gonna give us some extra class ability energy to make it so our class ability comes back to us faster. After that, we're going to have the Facet of Protection. This one's just going to give us some more damage resistance whenever we're surrounded. And since we're always going to be in melee range, this is essentially always on. We're always going to be taking more damage, and it's just going to make it easier for us to stay alive when we're in the middle of all the enemies. And lastly, we're going to have the Facet of Blessing. Whenever we get some melee final blows, it's going to start our health regen. And this is going to be very nice. We essentially always start health regen after every single kill with our glaive. And because we're gonna have so many overshields with this build, as long as we have an overshield and our health doesn't actually get hit while the regen is happening, it's never gonna stop our regen. Usually I tend to prefer just flat HP gains, except with this build. This build is one of the few that can actually get away with just using health regen and still be very tanky and have tons of survivability, and it's all thanks to glaive. Now for the artifact, there's not many things that we actually have here that are gonna help us, but there is a couple. Shield Crush is the big one. Whenever we have Frost Armor, a Void Overshield, or Woven Mail, our melee recharges faster, and it's gonna give us increased melee damage. And we can even use the other part of the perk because we're also gonna be amplified all the time, meaning that our grenade is gonna be recharging faster, and we can use it a lot more often. We do also get increased grenade damage, but since our grenade is not really a damaging grenade, that is not something that we really gonna notice. Element of Benevolence is also gonna be amazing on this build. Basically, it's going to give us even more uptime on our Ascension, since every time we activate our Ascension, we're going to give our allies Amplified. So this is another way of just getting more Ascensions out there, so we can keep spamming them, always keeping damage resistance, always keeping the jolt up, and always just keeping us safe. But those are really like the only two that are really going to be helping us, at least consistently. Nothing else is really going to help us, so these are the main two you want to really focus on, and then everything else can either match your other weapons, or maybe use something else that you're pairing up with this build. And lastly, let's talk about the stats they want to max out on this build, as well as the mods they want to run. Now for the main stat you want to go for, it's of course melee. You want to get as much melee as you can, so it increases your melee damage in PvE. Now here, we have 150, but you want to aim for as much as you can get, and if you can only get around like what I have, then we're going to be utilizing a couple mods to basically increase it and get it more around like 190. Now, starting out with the helmet, you want to go with Radiant Light, as well as two special ammo finishers. The special ammo finishers are just going to be so we can always keep up with the ammo demands. We never run into any ammo issues. You're never really going to have to use another weapon besides the glaive. And the Radiant Light is just because we had an extra point really. Every time they use our super, we're going to give our allies some armor charge. So that works pretty well when we're playing with somebody else. If we're not, there's not really anything else that we can use. Now for the gauntlets, you want to go with two melee fonts, and these are going to increase your melee stat, and we just want to push that melee stat as high as it goes. Now if you already have 200 melee stat without requiring these, then you don't have to use these. You can instead go for something else, like Focusing Strike to get some more class ability energy, or Impact Induction so you can get your grenade back faster, especially since these two mods right here actually work with the smoke from your chest piece. If you hit something while coming out invisibility, it will actually proc these two mods right here. But you definitely want to focus your melee first and make sure that you have as much of that melee stat as you can possibly get. Now for your chest piece, we're essentially just going to have some resistances. Melee damage resistance, we're always going to be up close to enemies, so this is something that's always going to be benefiting us. Concussive dampener is always good for any AoE damage. And then harmonic resistance, so you take a little bit less damage from stasis enemies, since I tend to find those are the most annoying ones. Now for your boots, you want to go with Orbs of Restoration, Absolution, and then also a Void Scavenger, so we can be topped off on that ammo and basically never run into any ammo issues, as well as being able to get our abilities back faster with Orbs of Restoration and Absolution. And lastly, for the class item, we want Proximity Ward, so whenever we go for the finisher, we actually get an Overshield, it's a lot safer to do. Reaper, so whenever we use our Ascension, the next time we get a kill with our Glaive Shot, it does have to be with the Glaive Shot, the Glaive melee won't work, we will make some more power. So we also have a way of making more power. And lastly, Bomber, so every time that we use the Ascension, we get some of our grenade back. And with that, that's gonna be everything that's in this build. And now the gameplay loop is gonna be very simple for this build. We wanna amplify ourselves with our ascension, and you wanna use this usually next to an enemy, so we can also just jolt something and make sure that we can actually go invisible. Getting that first invisibility is the most important part. After you get that first one, getting some follow-up invisibility is gonna be much easier, since every time that we start hitting something, we're immediately just gonna smoke and weaken everything around us. We wanna essentially just keep spamming our ascension as long as we have it, and then just keep hitting things with our glaive. Also, don't forget about using your glaive shield. You get it back really quickly with vexcalibur, and every time you use it, you're gonna be getting back some of that void over shield, as well as giving your teammates void over shield, which also helps you get your transcendent back faster. This is going to be a very fun build that's going to give you tons of survivability, and it can make any challenging activity even easier. You definitely want to try out this build. There's a build that I kind of highlighted last season, but now with the new changes, it definitely got even better and even deadlier, with the melee stat giving you extra melee damage in PvE. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Leave a like if you did, dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel in case you guys ain't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.